Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Belkis. How are you all doing? Today's class is going to be on how to make this asymmetrical dress with side ruffles, as you can see here. And I would focus more on the skirt pattern. So looking at it, we have a basic skirt, but it has a side ruffle which is still going to have this inner part that will be cut off. I did something similar on my other channel, which you need to check out. I'll put a link in the description box below of something like this. So this doesn't have this lower part, so it was so detailed. I also explained how to drap the strapless bustier top, then with the skirt, sewing it up and coming out so beautiful. So just check out pattern drafting with Belkis. The link will be in the description box below. So right now, since we are focusing on the lower part, all you need is your basic skirt pattern. If you are making use of a cotton material, make sure it has the pattern with the dart. But for this, I just have my normal basic skirt for my small mannequin, and make sure it is on fold. Why? Because of the style we are making. So with my basic skirt, I just had to make it tapered by coming in by 3/4 inch. So for you, you could just do 1 inch since it is short. But if it is longer, 1¼ to 1½ is fine. That's good. I have my tapered basic skirt. So what do we have to do? The first thing is to locate the hip line, which is here. So let me just note that on the other side. Which is what I have here. Then I will have to connect from this E area straight down to the edge of the skirt here. So you could just make it straight if you want. So that's good. This is what we have. Good. So we have this, though this is still going to be attached back to the fabric. So what I'm going to do now is this. I'm going to cut out this pattern on the fabric, and also this adding seam allowance to it, 1/2 inch or 3/4, whatever seam allowance you want to add all around the pattern, and also to this very one. Then I will come back to show you how you are going to cut for the back. I have cut out the patterns on the fabric, as you can see, so just for the front, but for the lower one I had to cut out 2. So one will be for the front and one will be for the back. So that is for the lower part. So now for the main one, so I have just for the front. So how do we go about the back? Because the back is going to have a zipper, so it's very easy. With the crease here, I know this is the middle, so I'm just going to slit that up. Good. So this is what I have. I'm going to cut this out on the fabric too and add all the seam allowance and the zipper allowance. I don't need to cut out this again because I already cut out 2. So let me cut this out on the fabric. Right now I've cut the back panel with the zipper allowance. So that's that. Then you need to note where the zipper is going to stop. So for yourself, you could make between 8 to 9 is fine. So for her, I'm just going to stop around here and here. So you can see that. So that's where the zipper is going to stop. You need to note that. So our patterns are ready. So this for the back, then the front. Remember, this is going to be sewn in. So this is the front, and then this is going to be the panel for the front. Then another thing we need to take into consideration is the ruffles that's going to be in between. Then when making the ruffles, make sure it is longer than this part, because you want it to cover the slower parts. So people seeing you wouldn't even know there is another panel below, except when you turn to the side, and it's so beautiful and stylish. So now the first thing we are going to do is to measure whatever we have from the edge here straight to the waist. Okay, I have 16 and a half, so let's just approximate that to 17. Now, to get the amount of fabric you are going to use for the ruffles, just multiply this 17 or whatever you get on yourself by 2.5 to 3 yeah, depending on the fabric you have. So for instance, now if I should multiply this by 2.5, that's the minimum. So that's going to be, so half of 17 is 8.5. So times 2, that's 34. 34 plus the half, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.5. So I will have 42.5. So I need a fabric in width of 42.5 inches. For yourself, it's going to be more than this, but because I'm making use of the mini mannequin, so 24.5 inches is what I need for the ruffles, and that's going to be 2, one for the front and one for the back. Now let us determine the length of the flare, of the ruffles. So what you are going to do is this: you need to make sure it is longer than this panel we have below. So all I have to do is this, just measure from here. This is the seam allowance. So that means with 4 inches it is covered. So what I will do is to just make it 5 inches, which is going to be fine. So 5 inches in length by 42.5 inches. And don't forget you have your seam allowance. So that's what I have. So now let's cut out the fabric for the ruffles. The fabric for the ruffles here, so one for the front and one for the back. So as you can see, so this is it, 42.5 inches by 6 inches. So I just made it 6 inches. I actually needed 5, then half an inch on both sides to sew it up. So one for the front and one for the back. The next thing now for us is to start sewing up the panel. So the first thing I'm going to do is to work on the back panel. I'm going to take my sewing machine, make sure right side are facing each other. You can see that. And then I'm going to sew after the zipper allowance. Remember, the zipper allowance is going to stop here. So from here straight to the bottom. So that's what I'm going to have. Then we can now fix in the ruffles, because by the time we attach this, you have something like this. And also for the front, yeah, it's correct. Okay, that's it. Let me just turn it to the wrong side too. So after sewing this up, the next thing I will do is to gather this up. I'm going to gather each fabric up to the size of the 17 inches we have here and here. So once I've gathered this up, fine, you could pleat it, which is what I'm going to do for this tutorial, but please make sure you gather yours. It brings out more beauty rather than pleating it. Yes, but it depends on your preference. After gathering it up, then I'm going to start sewing it from the waist all through to the end of these skirts. So let me quickly do that step. This is what the skirt looks like. As you can see, they're so beautiful. So this is for the front and this is for the back. So this is the zipper allowance. Can you see that? So the next thing we are going to do now before we join the side is to attach the other panel, the lower panel. So what do we do? So let me just explain with one. So this is the front panel. So okay, this is the one for the front. So what I will do now is to lift this up. Can you see? So this is the right side. Make sure it is facing the wrong side of the ruffles. Place it this way, and then you just sew on half an inch all down till you get to this point, because looking at this point, this is where it ends. So you're just going to sew it half and stop here. So I'm going to do the same thing to the back panel. I've attached the lower part to it, and you can see what we have. Can you see that? So we have the basic skirt. So looking at it now, we have the full basic skirt. Also for the front, can you see that? So it's intact. So the next thing now is for us to sew it up. And how do you do that? Make sure right side are facing each other. So leave this side for now, where the slits comes, where the ruffles come to the waist. Just attach this part. You left half an inch for that. So I'm just going to start sewing from 1/2 inch straight down to this edge. Then I'll come back to explain this step by step. I've sewn the side all down. Let me show you how it looks. You see that? So beautiful. Let me see how that looks. And we still have this. So what we are going to do now to finish up this side is this. I'm going to turn it back. Let me see what it looks like. So listen attentively here. So what you will need is to fold this ruffle on the from the waist to the hip. Fold it inward, because folding it inward, now we have our basic skirt, and you can see the mark and the similar ones we left. Do the same thing for this side, then match it up. And you see that. So get the basic bodies, the lower panel, and also match it up. And you see that. So I'm going to sew now here, and here make sure you sew on the seam line, because you don't want to have a regular seam looking funny on the outside. So just make sure you sew on the initial seam line whereby you sew the ruffles and the basic skirt. So you just start from the waist area, sew it all down, connect it straight here to the basic bodies. Please, not the ruffles, but only the lower panel together. So let me quickly do that. On the side now, and then you can see without the ruffle we have a normal basic skirt, both on the back and on the front. So now I'm going to turn it to the right side. Oh my god, can you see how beautiful that is? So all you have to do is to attach to the upper part. So looking at it, can you see we still have our basic skirts? Can you see? And here the ruffle covering it. So if someone sees you from the front, they think it's just the ruffles, but meanwhile there is something covering it below. So I'm looking at the side. It's so neat. Can you see the finishing? So just take your time to sew yours neatly. So make sure you make this dress. Can you see? So I'm going to put it on the mannequin for you to see. This is just wonderful. I like it. So with this, you can make either of these or the one on pattern drafting with the piece. So it's just a lovely skirt. So let me put it on the mini mannequin for you to see how it looks. The lovely skirt we just made, you can see how beautiful and wonderful it looks. It's just so beautiful. So ensure you give it a try. Can you see that? Can you see the basic skirt covering underneath the ruffles? Can you see that as a tree? So ensure you give it a try. So you can either make this or the other one on pattern drafting with Bilquis. Don't forget to subscribe there too. I'll put the link in the description box below so you can check it out. And also Bilquis Kitchen for lovely food recipe. So tag me with your beautiful skirt or dress on Bilquis Signatures on Instagram and on Sewing Innovations on Facebook. Can you see that? I have to go right now, guys. Bye bye.